Hello, my name is Sierra Norwood. I had the genetic disorder of isobutylglycinuria, and this is the slide about it. So we will start by going through the slides. So what exactly is it? It is a genetic metabolic disorder. That means that it's an inherited disorder that comes from both the parents that creates issues with the body's metabolism. More specifically, it is an organic acid condition, and it is caused by a mutation of the gene ACAD8. And so what exactly is it? It's whenever the isobutyryl coenzyme A dehydrogenase, IBD for short, enzyme is impaired. And this makes the breakdown of certain proteins in the body hard or impossible. And this results in the body becoming too acidic, which means that the pH of the body, which is normally 7.4, becomes out of range. It actually goes down below the 7.4 mark. And so how is it inherited? So one way for it to be inherited, because it is a recessive genetic disorder. So one way is for the mom to be a carrier and the dad to be a carrier. And so here they're what we call heterogeneous for this mutation, meaning both of the copies on their gene are not the same. They're actually a little bit different. So this means that both of the parents are just carriers. So here we've done our Punnett square, and we see that for this child between the parents, this has given us our chances. 25% that they are non-affected, perfectly normal, would be this one. Our next option would be 50%, which is these two right here, that they would be carrier for it, meaning if they reproduced with another carrier individual, they could have a child that had this disorder. And then here we have the 25% chance that they will be affected by the disorder by the two small i's. Another way that we could have it is if one parent actually had the disorder and the other parent happened to be a carrier. In this case, we would see 50% chance for the children becoming a carrier and a 50% chance for the child actually having the disorder. So if one parent had it, it would give us a higher opportunity for the actual child to have it or offspring. And so some facts about this disease. It was first reported in medical literature in 1998. It is an extremely rare disorder, and there have only been around 22 cases reported in the medical literature for this disorder. So obviously, considering the world's population, there's really not that many people that have it, or we know of that have it. And so what can our physical effects be? Like what kind of presentation will we have with this disorder? The first thing we have to consider is that the individual may have symptoms or may not. Some of the individuals who have been reported in medical literature have actually not had any symptoms. They've just tested positive for the disorder. They may also have things like dilated cardiomyopathy. That's where the heart is enlarged. Poor muscle tone, where their muscles don't quite work right. Fatigue, difficulty controlling their body temperature. This would be especially something that we would be looking at with our newborns. Difficulty with breathing. That would be another that we would really be looking at with newborns. They can have developmental delays. They can have anemia. And they also should have very low levels of the carnitine. And then, so what is responsible for the gene and the chromosomal location? Gene ACAD8 is responsible for the disorder. This gene is responsible for making the IBD enzyme, and the chromosome location is 11q25. What is the function of the normal protein? The function is to break down fatty acids. The amino acid valine is impaired. Proteins in the body are broken down into amino acids, and so the amino acid, specifically valine, is the one that is affected. And this prevents them from breaking down fatty acids appropriately. Amino acids are used by the mitochondria, which is a small little organelle in each cell that actually help to supply the body's energy. So if these are affected, the mitochondria, then we're not getting the energy that the body is needing. So what are the impacts of the mutation on the structure or the function of the protein? The deficiency prevents the amino acid valine from being broken down correctly. And when this amino acid valine is not broken down correctly, it interferes with our energy production. That's why we get symptoms like fatigue and difficulty controlling breathing and temperature. Those are all things that we need energy for to help control. And as far as testing, there are multiple tests that are available in the United States. Testing may either be optional or mandatory depending on the specific state. Each state has a specific list of diseases that they test for at birth. I looked it up, and my home state that I live in, Louisiana, does not require this to be tested. And the test is usually done at 48 hours after birth, plus 1 minute. Up until 48 hours after birth, it's a simple heel stick, and they can screen for multiple genetic disorders at the same time. And usually if this one is tested for, it's in that mandated infant newborn screening test. And so these are actually a list of the specific tests that will test for the deficiency. And as you can see, there are numerous laboratories that will do this. Basically, they're essentially testing for the same thing, looking at the same gene sequence to see if there's a deficiency in it. It's just conducted by different labs, so they have a little bit different of a name. And these are my references that I have included. On each slide, I did try to put in exactly which references were included with each slide at the very bottom. So if you want to go back, you can take a look at all of that. And that is the presentation on my genetic disorder, isobutyrylglycinuria. Thank y'all, and I appreciate y'all watching this presentation, and have a good term. And thank y'all very much.